this is a really cool session kind of looking forward, and I think, innovation has so many places to go, but I'm really, really interested to hear what Brendan Gallagher has to say about it. Brendan is the Executive Vice President of Experience Strategy and Innovation at Digitas Health LifeBrands. And I loved his New Year's resolution, which is, only temporary, actually. It's to get through the future of digital health in the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm really looking forward to crushing this New Year's resolution super early, so I'm going to get right into it. Future of digital health in 10 minutes. Let's do this! I hope everybody had popsicles because we're moving fast here. I think in order to be able to even look forward to what's next, we really have to appreciate the speed at which digital sinks its fangs into almost any industry. One of my personal heroes, Ray Kurzweil, describes it as exponential, or the law of accelerating returns. And he often uses the story of the invention of chess to demonstrate what exponential means. Click. Or that one. Yeah, there it is. Has anyone heard the story of the invention of chess? It's a really fascinating legend. 6th century, Gupta Empire, India. The legend goes a farmer invented it. The emperor was so amazingly impressed with this invention that he summoned the farmer and he said, you could have any reward that you want. And the farmer said, well, I just want some rice to be able to feed my family. So the emperor's just like, well, how much rice are we talking about here? So the farmer says, well, we're here talking about chess. Let's use the chessboard. Just put 1 grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard, 2 on the second, 4 on the third, 8 on the fourth, and so on and so forth, doubling every single time. So the emperor was just like, oh, that's no problem at all. Go for it, because the human brain has a tough time conceiving of exponential growth. And it wasn't until his treasurer came and told him that actually by the time you get to that 63rd square, it's a fantastically big number, something in the realm of 18 quintillion grains of rice, or more grains of rice than we've ever produced on the face of the earth. So one of the interesting things that Ray says is that first square on the second half of the chessboard is worth more than the entire first half of the chessboard combined, which is really interesting because that's where things start to get really fantastic. And I feel like healthcare, technology, and digital health is about to enter that second half of the chessboard. So what I want to do is just talk about 3 trends that we're seeing that are fueling those technologies in the second half of the chessboard. The first is the pipes for connected health experiences are finally getting laid. That's a weird metaphor. Probably like the foundation's getting laid. No, that doesn't work either. Well, let's just go on. You know what I mean. So for years, I didn't mean it that way. For years, we've had all these wonderful disparate services disconnected. It's really been the API of me, right? I've been the conduit between all these different services. We've had some folks like on the clinical side, like Cerner and Athena Health and McKesson and Allscripts getting together to form that coalition to talk about data interoperability on that side. And of course, on the consumer side, we'd have things like Facebook's OAuth and open APIs to be able to share fitness and that sort of data, but never have the two really combined. And then, of course, last year, big announcement from Apple, we have this health kit enter the marketplace, which is really promising. And we're seeing some really promising stuff. There was an announcement in December from Duke University and Ochsner Health Systems down in Louisiana that they actually implemented HealthKit with Epic, and I know there was a panel about that earlier, and seeing some really promising results in terms of outcomes. So much so that I believe there are 2 or 3 CPT codes now for integrating, so you get paid a whole $56 a month to integrate HealthKit into your EMR. But the really interesting thing is, this may be nascent, but as this matures and these things become more connected, then the real second half of the chessboard hits when you add in something like Dr. Watson, IBM's Watson, who's studying every clinical trial in oncology ever created over at Sloan Kettering right now, or another similar Master Jeopardy player, that can look at all this connected data and make meaningful correlations. And all of a sudden, diagnoses start looking different, predictive analytics start looking different. So that's really fascinating stuff for me. The pipes are getting created. 2, we're increasingly becoming carejackers, right? By carejackers, essentially, I mean we're taking control of our own destiny within our healthcare, and I think that's being powered by a couple of different things. One is this explosion of new products and services. I mean, just take a walk through the expo center over there and just feast your eyes on all these products and services that help us make self-diagnoses. Scanadu's been around for a little while. While the Scout does a limited amount of detections, the aspirations for the company are much, much greater, to supplant the top 12 reasons why someone would ever go to a primary care physician. Or you look at companies like AliveCor that now have a FDA-approved algorithm for detecting AFib, which is really fascinating. Doctors go to school for a very long time to be able to tell you that you're an AFib, and LifeBrands has an algorithm that does that. The second piece to the carejacking phenomenon is this financial transparency piece. And these are all companies that are working in the space of healthcare pricing transparency, probably some of the folks are in the room now. And some of them are established players like United Healthcare, or some of them IPO'd last year like Castlight Health. But finally, there is a platform for consumers to be able to make credible or confident financial decisions around their healthcare. And the third piece to carejacking is something I'll call like genetic truth, right? Everyone's seen this diagram, this plummeting cost of the human genome. And of course, that's for a full genome. If you're looking at like raw megabases, it's pennies, right? But eventually, we're going to get to this point where people are going to be the owners of their own genetic truths. You may have subject matter experts and physicians and healthcare professionals that are the best in the world at a certain disease state, but not necessarily how that disease state pertains to my genetic truth. So really interesting to see that how carejacking evolves on the second half of the chessboard as well. And then the third trend that I want to talk about is that we're all becoming cyborgs. As if we weren't already. Everybody remembers when they got their first cell phone, and it was only a matter of hours, maybe days, before that part of your brain that's supposed to remember cell phone numbers just completely shut down. For me, it was like 2 days. I mean, that essentially means you've outsourced a piece of your biological function to a machine, to a small square in your pocket. That makes you a cyborg. You don't have to have nanobots coursing through your blood to be considered a cyborg. And we're seeing some amazing advances that are actually making us more and more cyborgian, if that's a word. I mean, if you look at just what happened in 2014, this is hot off the press data from our friends over at Rock Health. $4.1 billion invested in venture capital and digital health startups in 2014, which almost eclipses the last 3 years combined, speaking of exponential. And where's all that money going to? It's going to a lot of different places, but things that might make us more like cyborgs, like Project Underskin, that working to try and get digital tattoos implanted in your hand so that you can exchange data with a handshake, or check your blood glucose level, or open your front door by grabbing it. It's going to, right now, you can pre-order sweaters that'll tell your mood, change color based on the mood. So you'll know when or not to approach your boss for that raise or not on that day. We're creating armies of baby cyborgs. This is the Mimo onesie, which I believe premiered at CES last year, the year before. But it's essentially a tracker that tracks all your baby's activities, heart rate, respiration, whether they rolled over or not. And when you have cyborgs as a reality, companies start popping up that market products or create products to cyborgs. This is a company called Think that, according to their website, creates wearable consumer products that use neurosignaling to change your mood state. So you're having a bad day, you just turn the little dial on the thing here, and all of a sudden you're feeling a lot happier. Yeah, it's kind of neat. But the interesting thing, I think, about the pipes getting laid down, the carejacking, and this notion of we're all becoming cyborgs is in the business that we're in with Digitas Health. We have to think about what's the role of brands in this second half of the chessboard moment. And for us, I think it's simple. I think brands need to learn how to better communicate with carejacking cyborgs. But what does that mean exactly? I think what it means is we need to, as healthcare brands, stop thinking in terms of multi-channel, start thinking in terms of omni-channel, thinking screens, especially new screens, EMRs, how your brand shows up meaningfully and fits into their lives, smartwatches, and especially telehealth. I mean, of that Rock Health data, a huge category in that investment was telehealth. And we had the Doctors on Demand's founder here earlier talking about that. Two, I think also brands need to start thinking of themselves as connected health platforms and not just the features and benefits of their product, whether or not that's a molecule as a pharmaceutical company or a digital therapeutic as a startup. And then I think finally brands need to start learning how to use data to tell more meaningful, connected health stories. because that's what cyborgs like to listen to. They love connected health stories that are founded in data. So that's what we're working on at Digitas Health LifeBrands right now. It's really exciting to see where brands are going to go in the second half of the chessboard. And thank you so much for your time.